So thank you very much for joining me. Today we're going to be very quickly, just over a half hour, having a conversation about perimenopause, because actually perimenopause is inevitable, but suffering is 100% optional. This is not something that you have to suffer with, and so we're going to talk about that. My name is Geeta Sidhu-Robb, and I'm the CEO and founder of Nosh Detox Delivery Limited. So my mission is to help professional overwhelmed women who work 50 plus hours to struggle to stay on top of everything that they have to do, they feel less and less in control of everything that they have to do. I want them to finally feel good about themselves again. I want them to wake up in the morning thinking, oh my God, I love my life, and that this is how I want to live my life. So my vision is that we are going to live in a world where women decide how good they're going to feel, and they know exactly what to do to make themselves feel good and to love themselves and to see themselves as who they are, and that they have a strong, powerful, confident voice to speak up, and so that they feel 100% undismissible. So this masterclass is for you. If you know menopause is a thing and it's coming to get you, but you're not sure how, and you just think, what is perimenopause? Because this was me, I had no clue. Why is perimenopause so hard, and how can we make it easier? Does stress affect perimenopause, or is it that I am stressed because I'm in perimenopause? What actually happened to my body? 1 minute it was fine, and now it's going mad. I have weird periods, pot belly, I can't sleep, and I just feel like it's a different body I'm inhabiting. Also, I'm constantly irritable, and I have no idea what that I'm supposed to do about that. So if any of these are things that you feel like, then this is the right place for you. So let's start here. Perimenopause actually means around menopause, and it refers to the time when your body starts to make a natural transition towards menopause, which basically means that you are going to stop having a fertile body. It's the end of your reproductive years. It's actually something that's can be very emotional for women, but I think it's also very emotional because we struggle to manage the process of perimenopause, because there is just a place when we've stopped having babies, and when we've stopped having babies, our body catches up with us. Then perimenopause is the process, which is the transition from I'm a baby making woman to I've given up and I don't want to have any more babies. It's the menopausal transition. And women start perimenopause at very, very, very different times. When I started working in Nosh, and I set up Nosh in 2008, women used to go into perimenopause in their 50s. Then as I carried, because I've been running Nosh now for 14 years, and then I started to carry on, and women started to go into menopause in their late 40s, then in their early 40s. Now there are women coming to see me going into perimenopause in their late 30s, which is very, very early. And today we're going to understand why that's a problem. So the way to know whether or not you are in perimenopause is there are symptoms and signs that your body has. One is migraines. If you get unexpected headaches and you're not usually prone to having them, or you had them very young and they're now back, it's a hormone imbalance that causes that. Periods that are heavier or lighter. Women report having periods where they just literally have to run to the bathroom to manage the process. And some women miss their periods completely. Hot flashes, a feeling of warmth that just spreads through your body and you suddenly can't cope because you're so hot. Discomfort during sex due to dryness is a really, really common side effect. Needing to pee all the time. And you don't always have all of these symptoms. You have one or two, but some people will have all of these symptoms. If you have these symptoms and you're kind of over 40, you're starting the process of perimenopause. So perimenopause is actually extremely difficult, and it shouldn't really be as difficult, but one of the reasons it's so difficult is because we don't know enough about it. Like when I went through the menopause, I had no idea, and I remember going to my doctor and him going, maybe you're just pregnant, that's why you don't have a period. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I had just no idea. But perimenopause can last between 3 to 10 years. Although the average is around 4 to 5 years, it literally can last from 3 to 10 years. It usually comes at a challenging time when women are already more senior at work, you're having to deal with teenagers, and you've just already got a lot of stuff happening in your life. It totally, as I said earlier, affects how you see yourself as a woman and your sexuality. Your whole body starts to change as your hormone profile starts to change, because your estrogen goes up and down a lot during this period. And often perimenopause, when you go and see a doctor, because there are symptoms of perimenopause that are anxiety and depression, you get prescribed antidepressants by a doctor. And this, I think, is the hardest part, where you just feel alone, isolated, and completely misunderstood. So today we're going to cover the common links between perimenopause, stress, and gut health. And also we're going to understand how stress impacts perimenopause. We're going to work out how to create an approach to this particular stage of your life and create a system that will support you. So the one thing you're going to take away today is a really deep understanding that you need a new system, because none of the old ones are going to work for the way your body is currently working. And you just need to understand you have not gone mad, because that is a very common side effect of perimenopause. So managing perimenopause successfully is actually a two-step process. And this is something that there was a recent study, which I reference here, that was run by a lady called Dr. Sarah Berry and Zoe Predict, which is a company through King's College London. And they did a study where they started with 566 women who were in pre-menopause and tracked them through pre, peri, and then menopause, post-menopause. And they came up with the most amazing results. And what I've done is created those results into a short thing that you can see, and I put them in this presentation for you to have a look at. So two things help you to successfully manage perimenopause. Step one is you have to manage your stress. I know you can't change your life, because, I mean, you know, who can? But you can change how you approach your life. And you can show up in your life feeling more confident, more powerful, and in control. Because when you do, it massively lessens your daily stress. Step two is that you can actually need, through perimenopause, to heal your gut. You need to come at perimenopause with a very, very, very well balanced gut, because perimenopause permanently changes your gut microbiome unless you help it along. So Dr. Sarah Berry, the lead nutritional scientist, as Zoe says, our research shows menopause is a time of major metabolic upheaval, which can have a significant impact on long-term health, not just that we put on weight, although that's what's visible for us. So I want you to see, this is a lady who went through this process, Hannah Youssef, and she said that she went into coaching thinking that she was the problem, that whatever was going to happen, she had to fix herself, because she didn't understand that the solution lay in how she approached her life, her mindset, everything that she did. But once she did that, she felt like she'd reached her true self and that she could be the best version of herself. She said, I've changed and I feel better, happier, calmer, and more empowered. And the best thing is, I know I will never go back. And that's what I want you to take away from today, and understanding that you are going to come out as your best version of yourself, not thinking, oh my God, perimenopause beat me up and I have no choice, which is what otherwise would happen if you don't end up looking after yourself through this process. So today, we're going to look at step one. Yes, we can help you with the gut healing and all of that, but really the primary place to start for us as women today is to deal with our stress. So let's look at the symptoms of perimenopause versus stress. There's something like, if you look at perimenopause, lack of sleep, irritability, low energy, waking up tired, fuzzy brain, depression and anxiety, and weight gain. On the other side, let's look at stress, bloating, carb craving, waking up tired, fuzzy brain, overwhelm, weight gain, anxiety. It's really hard to tell the difference between these two. So what's actually happening is that you are overlaying symptoms on top of each other, and your body is completely overwhelmed. And the body is always going to choose survival over any level of fertility, which is why when you start to go through perimenopause, your periods and everything else start to change. Ultimately, you're in the process of double trouble. All your symptoms are made harsher because they're added on top of each other. So again, the Zoe Predict study says, here are the results of going through the menopausal journey. They said, the effect of menopause on the body, ultimately, through this process of 3 to 11 years, is unfavorable changes in body composition, fasting and postprandial blood profiles, which means you get inflammation and high blood sugar. It affects your diet. It will, because of what you're wanting to eat, it will affect your sleep. They showed at least 27% of women going through menopause had much, much worse sleep. And it affects massively the way that your gut works and your gut microbiome. So we take a step here and think about it. Can you change, alter, or avoid the menopause? Clearly, I'm making a joke out of it, so that is a no. But can you change, alter, and avoid your stress responses? Can you change, alter, and avoid the gut issues? Absolutely. So what we need to do is put you in a position where you're going to start to feel completely out of control and help you get to a place where you will again feel in control. So here's what we know about women's lives today. We set up a quiz on the front page of our website, and we asked women, where do you feel stuck, on noshdetox.com? Because we knew women were coming to us and they were unhappy, and we were trying to work out how to help them. So we put this quiz up and we were like, you had 3 choices: overweight, overwhelmed, and overtired. And we, when we put people through this quiz, thought that 95% of women were going to come to us as being overweight. And like maybe 4% overtired and 1% overwhelmed. This is kind of what we assumed. We were completely wrong. Completely wrong. The actual results were that 95% of women felt overwhelmed, 3% felt overtired, and only 2% came back saying, but I'm overweight. And what this tells us is that it's the overwhelm, the stress of that leads to the physical changes in your body. And as women, we think we should work on our weight loss. It's a process we call stress fat. But when you have weight that comes to you from stress, perimenopause stress, normal stress, this is not weight you can diet off. It will not come off that way ever. And you've already tried. So what you actually have to do is that if you can deal with the primary emotion of stress, everything else in your life becomes easier, including perimenopause. The biggest personal growth in our life, which helps to reduce our stress, is in the small place where we feel most triggered, most upset, and most out of control. That's where we get the majority of our stress. And in that place, that is the place where if we can make that bit work, we reduce stress and we actually help perimenopause. Because if you don't, remember, you're going to have double symptoms for everything as you go through perimenopause, and it is very painful. So success, when you're managing perimenopause, success looks like feeling calm, confident, and in control of what's happening. Not that you're going to feel good all the time. Yes, you're going to wake up and there are times where you're not going to feel good during perimenopause. It's 11 years. There are days you're not going to feel good, but it's never going to come and blindside you and you're going to think, oh my God, what is happening? And that is what we hear now again and again. And it's happening to some of you where you just don't feel like you have any sense. The thing I'm told again and again is women say, I'm doing all the same things, but my body just doesn't react in the same way. So we'll have a Q&A at the end. Let me tell you who I am and why I'm teaching you this. So my name is Geeta Sidhu-Robb, and these are my 3 kids. And I started working in health and wellness from being a corporate lawyer because my son was incredibly ill. He spent over 230 days in hospital in his first year. And it just meant that I had to learn everything about health in order to help him. And the thing that it was a really awful period of time. It was very scary. He was in a coma. He was incredibly ill. And the thing that made the difference was that it made me determined to fix my son in any way that I could. And so I came out of that space with the ability to actually, it took me around 7 years to heal him. And I came out and became an expert at health and wellness and made speeches, wrote for newspapers, went on TV, and have written books. We are extremely well covered in media and have been for over 12 to 14 years as one of the leading innovators in health and wellness. And we set up Nosh 13 years ago. The interesting thing about this statistic is over 98% of our clients achieve their goals because we provide tailored solutions for the problem that you are currently having. And our most famous fan bless the woman, is Gwyneth Paltrow. She's the one that first put us on the map when she said that we were her best detox. So let's understand how we work. The interesting thing about this is that as women, we have the small part of ourselves that show up at work, that shows up doing the right things, that we show to our families and everything, is a very tight, small bit, which is just literally the tip of the iceberg. Actually, there is so much happening underneath. There is so much work that is going on, and fear and a lack of confidence and a desire to cry and tears. And you know how hard you work. All of that work, do you often not feel like no one ever sees it, including you? Because it's hard to believe we matter when no one around us is actually saying we matter, and we're not saying it to ourselves. So it doesn't matter how successful you are. We are very bad at thinking and understanding that we matter. So this lady here, Melanie Seymour, is an incredibly successful woman. And it wasn't until we'd actually worked with her that she said, I only now understand the importance of what I put in my body and how I look after myself in relation to how effective that makes me. And what she did was, when she learned about herself, she increased her energy, optimized her performance, and she lived a happier, more fulfilled life. We're very bad as women at understanding what it is that we need. It is not a skill we have or a muscle that we have built. So then we end up in a place where we're struggling to focus, cope, and sleep. And we could say this is perimenopause, but what if you've just started the perimenopause journey? I assure you that you started this from the stress that you're living under more than the physical changes that you have. Let me run this past you. I've talked to women and they say things like, I'm like, why do you do so much? And they say, I have to do it. No one else is going to do it. Well, it's sort of my job. I usually do it. Well, I can't stop. That would be wrong of me. And these thoughts are based on certain personality types that actually I never see men show up with. I only ever see women show up with these, because it's kind of part of us being female and women, showing up wanting to please the people around us. We don't like confrontation, and we really sincerely, deeply care about the people, and we want to help them out. But what is happening is, being that kind of person means that you are putting yourself last and you don't look after yourself. So you end up tired, depressed, anxious, at your wit's end, and you are constantly putting yourself last. Then along comes perimenopause, and struggling, overwhelm, and irritability become your norm. So what I'm saying here is that we did not start from a position of strength and confidence and calmness. We were already tired, and then perimenopause is coming to hit us. So we end up as a ticking bomb. And this is who we end up being through the process of perimenopause. Is it any wonder that when we go through perimenopause, it ends up being one of the most difficult things we've ever done? The minute we hit difficulties as women, there are some things that we try to do. We set goals, but the things we're recommended, right? There are courses we buy. There are people that tell us what to do. We work out more because we're putting on weight around our middle, because that's what stress fat is, and that's what perimenopause does. So we're like, let's work out more. We're going to get more organized because our brains are fuzzy. We're going to take a course on productivity because we just keep dropping things and we're not getting through it. And we're really struggling. And we look at everyone else and we wonder, how are they doing it? Which makes us even more anxious and even more depressed. And none of it starts to work. So no matter how hard we try, how often we try, we struggle, we get overwhelmed, we give up. But that giving up has a price, because ultimately it makes us lose our confidence. But we're not actually looking in the right place to make the changes that we need to make for ourselves so that we can go through life easier. We're looking in the wrong places to make the changes, because we're always trying to make ourselves become better. The thing is, there's nothing wrong with you. There's literally nothing wrong with you. But the fact that you think there is incredibly stressful. And then we add perimenopause on top of that stress. So it's time to get off the hamster wheel of overwhelm, worry, fear, and actually get unstuck. Just have a drink. There are two problems with this. What you believe and how you want to live are actually fighting with each other. And this gets harder and harder and harder the longer we go through perimenopause. And the second problem is your core beliefs decide the direction of travel. They're like your inner GPS. And if you're not sure what core beliefs are actually driving you, look at the place where you are the most scared, where you feel panic. That's where the negativity of you feel about yourself that causes the most stress is going to be found. Here's a client, Emma, and she came in because she wanted to manage stress, but what she didn't understand was how much fear she lived with on a daily basis. And she said, I'm not afraid anymore. She said, I thought I wanted health and diet support, but it went so much deeper. So don't get me wrong, it hasn't been an easy ride. There have been tears and realizations along the way that were painful, but I've been encouraged to confront and remove them in a way I wouldn't have thought possible. So if you are lying there or sitting there listening to this thinking, but there is no way this can ever get better, it's just not true, because we have proof. We have clients for whom we have done this. Let me put it this way. If your inner GPS is set to Paris, you are never, ever, ever going to end up in New York, ever. And the harder you try, the worse you're going to feel. And the worse you feel, the more stress you're going to download. And perimenopause is, again, going to layer over that level of stress. Everything that we're looking at shows that there are physical results, but that we approach them from a psychological basis to help you to find that freedom. So here is a client who said that she came to us with the objective of losing weight. But it was after we talked, she realized her issues were psychological, and small steps with the right support was going to change her bad habits for life. And she saw improvements in 2 weeks. Because if we had stayed in the place where she only thought about her physical body, which is very, very close when you get to perimenopause. You just look at the physical results of what you're feeling because it's overtaken your body. But the answers lie in the psychological approach to how to break this down and how to get out of that trap. The Zoe Predict study said, in summary, the physiological effects of menopause are numerous. And the menopause transition is a time of great change and unfavorable metabolic results. And what we want to do is help you with that process by giving you support systems that you can lean on and rely on to manage massive stresses in your life that don't just work on the stress that you live with every day, but help you with the stress of menopause as well, because you will have to develop skills for these massive changes, skills you currently do not possess, because nobody possesses them. And as women, we just don't have them because you're not meant to have them. It's like the first time you take home a baby, you're like, oh my God, what am I meant to do with you? I hope I don't kill you. It's not a skill you have. And honestly, childbirth is one major thing in a woman's life, and menopause is a second major thing that we almost have to start again with. We've put together a course called Rewire, which is a 6-step program which rewires your approach to stress, success, and overwhelm. This is the blueprint in my 15 years I've been working in health for inner success for women, to get women to a place where they feel safe and strong and powerful within themselves. And life gets very much less stressful. We help you to root out what your inner beliefs are that are negative. We help you to work out what to eat all the time and to eat better always. We teach you what self-love looks like and what your relationship with yourself and with others around you are meant to be. We always have an inner bully. That inner bully gets very loud during perimenopause. So we're going to meet, greet, and defeat her. We help you to reset all of your systems so that you have infrastructure that supports you, not just your children or your dog or your cat or your husband or your partner and aged parents, you, because you need the help and support. And we help you to expand and stop playing small. Across these 6 modules, we basically teach you to reset your GPS, change your belief systems, feel strong, and above all, gain body confidence. This is what you need to have a grasp on as you hit perimenopause era and the years of perimenopause, because it makes the entire process just easier. So we have a lady, Leno, who came to us, and she said, when she came to coach, she said, I wasn't happy with my weight, but I wasn't focused on losing it. I just wanted to be a better leader. She said, but because I got the coaching, I'm eating better and I've lost 11 kilos without trying. In fact, the real change came that I'm performing better as a leader because I call out bad behavior a lot. I deal with it earlier. And as an organization, we save time and emotional energy because things are being dealt with a lot faster. I find it so useful because this approach is a whole life approach. And that is what we need to do instead of thinking, I'm going on a diet, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They take time and they don't give you the results. So what's next? Start with understanding where you need to work. We need to unearth the obstacles that are keeping you stuck because we have to start with the inner journey. And only then will you get the freedom to actually thrive through this process. So what I want you to do is I want you to book in a call with me so that we can talk and I can help you to understand what your biggest obstacle is to feeling strong and healthy and body confident. You bring your unconscious beliefs, and I will help you find out where they are stuck and what to do to remove them so that you feel less stressful. And you just have to click on this link, the bit.ly/GeetaSR, and you'll be able to book in a call with me and I will be able to help you through this process. And I'm really grateful that you spent this time with me. Thank you very much. And I'm really looking forward to actually speaking with you.